Thank you, Francesca. I'm Michelle Rasmussen from the Executive Intelligence Review in the United States. And I have two questions. The first is, I have a question about implementing an OASIS plan for peace through economic development and connecting a political solution to an economic solution. Because my magazine back and its founding editor, Lyndon LaRouche, back in 1975, came out with an OASIS plan for cooperation between an independent Palestine, Israel, the regional countries, and now also possibly including the Chinese, for water desalination, new water transfer canals, and basic modern infrastructure. So do you think that something like this could help break this cycle of violence and hate by creating a future vision of cooperation for the benefit of everyone, which could help pave a path from genocide to peace and give people hope? Because you said in a recent interview that what we do for Palestine is a test for humanity. Of what we want to do next. So could you comment on the need for international cooperation for reconstruction and economic development, including something like an OASIS plan to ensure a decent future for Palestinians? Then I have a second question, if it's possible.
You want to have a couple, or?
Yeah, I can take a couple of questions. And
Let's have the other one.
Okay.
Yeah.
The other question is, of course, what do you say to President Trump's statement yesterday that the United States should take over Gaza Strip and throw out all the Palestinians?
I was waiting for this question. Before being the special rapporteur on the occupied Palestinian territory, I've devoted a decent number of years to the question of Palestine as a UN official first, and then as a scholar. And I know the question of Palestine through the perspective and through the story, the experience of its people. Palestinian refugees. In fact, we shouldn't call them Palestinian refugees. We should call the Palestinians Nakba survivors, because this gives for the Palestinians, the fact of being a refugee is not just being having it's not just a matter of legal status. It's a matter of having been deprived of a homeland that, as Edward Said used to say, existed one day and is no more. And so as such, I can tell you, for decades, the international community has treated the question of Palestine as something that could be managed in perpetuity through means of development, economic incentives, and encouraging growth, whatever it means. Or managing it as a humanitarian crisis. And frankly, after, let's say, at least 56, 57, but in fact it's 76 years, it doesn't work. And you know why? Because of course economic development must happen. Of course cooperation is necessary, but not at the expense of fundamental rights and freedoms, which is what Israel, the United States, more openly than ever, and others seems to expect that the Palestinians will accept. Like all indigenous people in the world, the Palestinians will never surrender. They will fight and they will resist. I mean, when I say fight, I do not mean armed resistance. They will fight for recognition of their rights and their dignity. And so, no. The short answer is no. Economic peace through economic development is expectation of surrender, and it will not work because everyone has the right to be free and to, again, self-determination as a people. This is a collective right.
The question was including a sovereign Palestine.
Well, but this is not what has been talked about. I mean, the argument of sovereignty is used as a rhetorical one. I mean, just to kick the can in the air, because then when it comes to, the only thing that is to be done to allow a Palestinian state is not to fund, excuse me, Ambassador, is not to fund the Palestinian Authority, is not to tell the Palestinian Authority how to reform. This is not of our business. We don't go to other countries telling them, we should probably in some countries tell people, advise people whom to elect. You're from the US, right? And we don't do. So the same thing applies to the Palestinians. I mean, the only thing we need to do to ensure that the international community needs to do to ensure a Palestinian state is to make sure that Israel withdraws troops, settlements, controls over resources. As simple as that. There is no other way around. The rest is hypocrisy. And frankly, the world has had enough of it. So no, it's not going to happen. And so the next point you are raising is economic development going to break the cycle of violence? No. I mean, and if there is one thing that I'm 100% sure of, the answer is no. And this is, what happened in the last 15 months, what happened 15 months ago, and what has happened over and over, the violence in Palestine. And let's be very, very blunt. Palestinians, they are not violent people. They are people who want to live in peace and freedom. And the fact that they might have resorted to violence at various points and they might have committed crimes against the Israelis during 76 years of dispossession and displacement is to be read as mirroring the violence they have been subject to. So the only way to stop the cycles of violence is to give peace a chance through freedom, through full recognition of freedom. And this is not going to bring to a decent future for the Palestinians only. For the Palestinians and the Israelis, I always have tried to have this inclusive language because there are few Israelis who are fighting against genocide, against occupation, and against apartheid, and they should not be invisibilized. They are an important actor in the process. President Trump, where to start? The short answer to your question is what he proposes is utter nonsense.
Is what?
Utter nonsense. Is nonsense. And it's unlawful. What he proposes, people talk of ethnic cleansing. No, it's worse. It's worse. It's forced displacement. It's inciting to commit forced displacement, which is an international crime. Forced displacement and further dispossession, and in the context of a genocide, it will strengthen the complicity in the crimes that Israel has been committing over the past 15 months and before. It's unlawful, immoral, and irresponsible. It's completely irresponsible because it will make the regional crisis even worse. And I truly hope that people will stay calm, will not panic, and will remember that the international community is made of 193 states. And this is the time to give the US what it has been looking for: isolation. But this is the opportunity to revive or to give a meaning to cooperation premised upon respect of basic rules. Like international law is there for a reason. And look, as there is the Hague, I don't know if you have followed the initiative launched recently by nine countries in the Hague group, a number of states who have committed to implement basic measures to ensure accountability and end of impunity in the occupied Palestinian territory. This is a model that others should follow. And I truly hope that Denmark, who has been very principled on other matters, on other regions of the world, joins the group and the initiative.